Well. Good afternoon, West Ham fans. Let's talk about the academy, shall we? Yes, everybody, Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well. So, for those of you who don't know, on a Monday we do a review of the academy show. We take a bit of 15, 20 minutes out of our massive schedule, it seems, just to talk about the academy because it is such an important part of West Hamness in all that we do. And the way it tends to work is we start with any news that's happened affecting the academy in the last week. Then we talk about the players, the academy players out on loan. We cover the academy players the first team players on loan in Hammer's headlines, which was like a bit early on. And then we talk about any of the games that have happened over the week. And there's been a few games that have happened. Some good, some not so good, let's be honest. But it just gives us time to reflect on the academy. So let's crack on. Let's start with news. So there's two pieces of academy news this week. One being something which I think should have happened a long time ago, to be honest. But we have recalled Callum Marshall from his loan spell at West Brom. Technically. So the under-21s played PSV Eindhoven in the semi-final of the International Premier League International Cup. PSV were the current holders. We'll talk about that in a little bit in the match reports. And on Tuesday, it was announced by the club that Callum had been recalled from his loan spell, and he actually went straight into the squad for the under-21 game on the Tuesday night. We have been led. We know that it is just for the under-21s he's been recalled back. He can't play for the first team. And West Brom still hold the option of recalling him back if they have like a massive injury crisis, or maybe when it comes to the playoffs, which they probably will do, they might recall him just to add that extra bit of an extra body in the squad. We've spoken about his loan spell quite clearly, quite often. I think it was a mistake. He had over 20 clubs after him by all accounts, with one of them really pushing was Leyton Orient. And actually, I think that would have been perfect for him. If you see how, we'll go through some of the loans in a minute, see how sort of the lower league teams have been utilising our players, that would have definitely helped him in his progression. But, you live and learn. You live and learn, and hopefully he'll take this on the chin and it won't curtail his development, because he's got a bright future ahead of him and he will score goals wherever he plays. He will. He's just that type of player, sort of nippy, annoying, like Craig Bellamy type player. Do you know what I mean? Just always yapping with the defender, always on the back of the heels, all that type of stuff. Elsewhere, yesterday saw George Earthy make his Premier League debut. He came on with about 20 minutes to go, was it 15, 20 minutes to go? And got the crowd on their feet a little bit, because he showed willing. Again, that's what George is all about. He's, again, another nippy player. He's always on the move. He's impossible to man mark because he's literally always on the move. Won the ball back, cut nice passes, nice little interchange, set up a little ball for Paqueta to set up a shot. And then, unfortunately, there was an incident with a clash of heads with Edson Alvarez and a couple of other Fulham players. He hit the deck. By all accounts, was knocked out. Again, very, very responsive in terms of getting there, putting him in the recovery position straight away, which definitely would have, not morbidly, but could have saved his life, really, because, they swallow his tongue when you're leaning back. Obviously, a long time securing him. Obviously, he left the pitch on one of those stretcher things. Obviously, his family rushed down the tunnel as well, because obviously it must have been extremely upsetting. He recovered in the resus room and was admitted to hospital for further checks. So and to keep an eye on him. So it seems like he's okay, but obviously we don't know the full extent just yet. And once we find out more, we'll obviously let you guys know, because it's wasn't nice indeed, was it, to be fair. particularly someone who was making such a good impression early on. As I said, I really like George. He's a fantastic player, and I just think he's, hopefully everything's okay, and maybe next year maybe go out on loans. I think that would really help and benefit his career, because that's what he needs now. He needs reps in the first team, in a first team squad. Let's talk about loans and people on first teams. Freddy Potes. This is what I mean. If we can get our the players that we really think are really, 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 really good out on loan, and maybe find a Wickham or something like that, it will benefit the club no end the following season or season after that. Freddie, another 90 minutes. He got over they got over the disappointment of losing the EFL trophy last week, a last minute winner by Peterborough. And they recorded a 2-0 away win against Shrewsbury. Freddie played the full 90 minutes once again. And Gideon started as well, which was great. He was substituted and he played the first 73 minutes of the game. Elsewhere, let's look at Salford City. Dan Chester's got an assist. He started at right back. We've got some good young right backs coming through, but unfortunately Salford did lose 2-1 at home to Bradford City. Dan was substitution on the 57th minute, and Bradford's winner was on the 86th minute, so nothing to do with Brad. Elsewhere, Kean Forson, another 90 minutes under his belt, as the Daggers recorded a 1-1 away draw to Hartlepool. Christian Heggies, Den Bosch play tonight against Jong FC Utrecht. He did actually keep a clean sheet last week, and they beat Jong Ajax 2-0 away from home, which moved them above, moved them off the bottom of the Dutch second division. And they'll be playing tonight, the bottom team, Jong FC Utrecht. So, it was a good win and another clean sheet for him. Doesn't tend to let it go. He either tends to that they win. It always tends to be by a clean sheet. Absolutely phenomenal clean sheet record for him this season for Den Bosch. Let's talk about the matches that have happened. West Ham had played PSV Eindhoven on Tuesday night at the Dagenham Redbridge Ground, Jiggle Construction Centre, in the semi-final of the Premier League International Cup, and they played PSV Eindhoven, probably the toughest draw out of the four of them. Everton and Palace was the other side of the draw in the semi-finals. And unfortunately, they got knocked out. It was a spirited match, very good match for anyone who did see it. Actually, I didn't see because it was on terrestrial. it wasn't streamed, but the highlights, particularly anyone who travelled, early chances, and then Schweier opened the scoring. A great little finish again. He scored obviously on the last Friday as well. Very good finish. Lewis Orford scored a second by the half-hour mark, so they were flying. Mason Terry saved the penalty, but then second half, PSV Eindhoven came out and scored 3 goals, with the winner happening. I think it was very much literally towards the end, wasn't it? Was the winner towards the end? I think the winner was towards the end. So yeah, it was a spirited match against a very, very good under-21 side in PSV Eindhoven. But they made up for it. On Friday, they played Norwich at Carrow Road and recorded a very comprehensive 2-0 win. It was a very good game. So a couple of great goals, one from Earthy and one from Lewis Orford, and both scored within 30 minutes. That set them on level points with Spurs at kickoff. It was sat on level points with Spurs, who were leading at kickoff. And so they made the perfect start to boosting their seedings for the knockout stages now. It was a really, really good game. Obviously, having secured their place now in the PL2 knockouts, the under-21s have one more regular feature, which is at home to Leicester City on Friday the 26th. Get down there. Support the boys. I think it's like £3 or something like for an adult, £1 for a kid. I think it's free for a season ticket holder, I think, as well. And then after that game, I'll be on the old 1s and 2s, so you have some good tunes. And before that, then they have a sort of mini tournament to decide who's the Development League champions, and that begins in May, I believe. As a point, Marshall played the full 90 minutes in that game. But what was quite interesting as well, looking at the under 21 game, and invariably that hindered the under 18s game on Saturday, was a number of 18s were in that squad were playing, particularly a first under 21 debut for my boy. Erdrich Golombekis, a 16-year-old central defender / right back. He started and played the full 90 minutes, which was brilliant for him. You know, Ezra Mayers was playing, and Dan Rigg was off the bench. Ajala, Adiele, some Tarima, not Tarima's under 21, but the others were all under 18s, and that had a detrimental effect on the side that was playing the following day, because obviously they were away to Norwich. Sometimes, and that's the issue we're having now. I think same as the first team squad when it comes to bodies. We are looking a little bit short, I'll be honest, in the academy. With a lot of players sent out on loan is great. So, let Freddie, Gideon, Dan, Heggie, that's 4 players who would have been featuring in the under-21 squad, which means the under-18s have to bring their players into the under-21s, and then the under-18s are then looking for players in the 16s and stuff to bring up, and that's a big gap between the 16s and 18s for sure. And that was reflected in Saturday's game, where unfortunately the under-18s, despite doing very, very well in the league, got absolutely trounced 8-1 at Little Heath against Arsenal. A heavy defeat in what was a top of the table clash, really. But it was a very, very youthful side played on Saturday, missing a number of key players from the 18s because of the game at Norwich the day before. Arsenal was sat third, and we were second or first at the time. I can't remember. Spurs with us, split the difference in between. It was very disappointing. I think we were 4-0 down at something like 40 minutes or something like that. They really just came out of the traps, and we just looked shell-shocked, in all honesty. We've still got, the league is still much in our hands, and it's going to be a bit of a battle for that. We have trips to Leicester City and Crystal Palace before a season finale at home against Spurs, which could be the title decider. And potentially it might move from Little Heath to Rush Green, I'd imagine, for something like that. But difficult afternoon for the Hammers, for the young boys. But such results says little about how the 18s have performed this season. As I said, we're still second with 5 points ahead of the Gunners in third. Knowing the levels they've reached this season, they will bounce back. Kevin Keane will get him bouncing back with 3 more fixtures still to play. It is all to play for. And that's it, my friends. As I said, if you're new around here, don't forget to give it a like, give it a share, give it a comment, all that good stuff. We've got loads of stuff coming up, obviously, with the run-up to Thursday. That's going to be fun, isn't it? European quarter-final against the Bundesliga champions. But, we live in hope. We live in hope. It's the hope that kills us. That's the trouble, though. As I said, keep an eye on the channel. We'll have all the build-up for that. And then we look to Crystal Palace, because we've still got 5 Premier League games left to try and do something for this season, and see what we can do by the end of the season. And then we'll see what happens in the summer. Take care. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay humble. Keep the faith. Come on, you irons.